Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and so we're going to do a thread today. The thread's about rain, and the originator of the thread is another Chris Profi, musically obsessed. So he kind of wanted us to do 5 songs that had to do with rain. So I'm going to start off with I'm going to dig into one of my traditional favorite artists here. And so, conveniently, just arriving yesterday, the reissue of Black Baby's Earwig. I got it on the classic black vinyl, but this hadn't been repressed since 1989. And so, no, it's hard for you to see, but the final song on side one is a song called Rain, and happens to be one of the best Blake Baby songs. Also happens to not be written by Juliana Hatfield, but by John Strom up there in the right hand part. This was Billy Ruane's favorite Blake Baby song. I'll link up to a very early performance by the Blake Babies where a drunken Billy Ruane refers to it as his favorite song, and they play it with Evan Dando joining in as well. And the Blake Babies put this song out quite a bit. So their debut album, self-released private pressy thing from 1987 called Nicely Nicely. And so there's the track listing, and you might see there's no song called Rain, but the song Better Than You with Evan Dando singing dual lead vocals, that was an early version of the song Rain. And then that was probably the song that got their attention to people like Gary Smith and Mammoth Records. Slow Learner was a EP that they put out in 1989 in England. Utility was Billy Bragg's record label. And then, of course, this Slow Learner is basically a subset of their album Earwig, the first album they put out on Mammoth Records. So I have the old CD of it. I just showed you the recent reissue I got. It came out on their compilation as well, and in fact, in a demo version. And then, probably the coolest and rarest version of it I have is on a 7-inch. So, Blight Babies, Ladies with an Attitude, Fellas That Were in the Mood. And so, this is a weird 3-song 7-inch with Rain as one of the songs, released in Australia only on this cool purple vinyl. And so let me get into some other songs. I'm not going to go through them in as nearly much detail, but another cool colored vinyl is Sherry Holly with Raining in My Heart. This is from mid 80s, I think about 1986 or so. It's a pretty straightforward country song out of Lubbock, Texas on Holly House Records, produced by Larry Holly. And it turns out in my research, despite the fact that Buddy Holly spelled his last name without the E, Sherry is Buddy's niece, and Larry Holly, the producer, is Buddy's brother. And so they came out with that. Again, I said it's pretty much just a straightforward country song. It's a cover of a song some other folks had done. 1978, we've got UK funk disco Eruption with I Can't Stand the Rain, which had originally been an Ann Peebles song. And so their lead singer, Precious Wilson, taking it on there. I think she left this group shortly afterwards, but there's some Rain for you. And then, of course, from the mid 1980s on Def Jam, we've got Orange Juice Jones with The Rain. And so, if you're my age, if you're a teenager during the 80s, you would probably remember this was a big song. I think this guy was pretty much a one-hit wonder. I can't name another song he did. Well, yes, I can. There's a song called Your Song, the flip side of this. But The Rain is obviously the most famous song. I was originally planning on showing The Blind Melon No Rain, but I noticed that Boz at that vinyl channel already beat me to it, and he had a cool colored version of it. Mine isn't, and so I dug up instead from 1967, the Epic Splendor. So this is one of your mainstream sort of pseudo psych bands with a song called "A Little Rain Must Fall." The Hot Biscuit Disc Company. I guess that's supposed to sound like it's an indie, but it was manufactured by Capitol Records. It's sort of like when you buy a microbrew that's brewed by Anheuser-Busch or the like. And it's a pretty straightforward, poppy sounding song that sounds like studio musicians banged it out in an afternoon of work. But there's some songs about the rain for Chris Prophy and the rest of you.